The Golf Channel is proud to showcase the game's future stars. We're in the Great Plains for live final round coverage of the Nike Dakota Dunes Open. 84 degrees under sunny skies here in Dakota's fantastic golf course, country club. And after 3 rounds of play, Greg Hamilton leading by 1 over Chris Smith and also John Huff. Quickly on the day, Larry Silvera, a man who had 9 birdies yesterday. This is his 3rd shot at the first.
And this is an awful lot like he played yesterday. Watch this shot. How does it stay out?
Tap that in for an easy 4 at the first. And now David Toms, a player many people could win today.
David Toms coming off a win last week, got off to a hot start last week, and he said to me on the practice tee, just what I need today.
Plenty of birdies indeed. Now our tournament leader trying to get to 13 under.
Greg Hamilton hit 2 good shots right in front of the green on the first hole. Hits a nice little pitch and run up to 3 feet, and he makes that.
Long hitting Chris Smith reached the first easily in 2 and had an eagle chance.
Well, with Chris Smith's length, he can reach any of these par 5s in 2. And this was his eagle try and just leaves it out to the right. Tap in birdie for Chris Smith.
Craig Wisman, who had all sorts of problems making putts in round 3, this to get to 11 under par.
On the second hole, a 415-yard par 4, the pin cut up front. Greg Wisman makes his first birdie of the day on the second hole.
Meanwhile, back in the fairway at the second, David Toms looking to get another shot close.
After a big drive, David Toms takes dead aim and nearly draws it right back in the cup.
Ahead at the third, Chris Smith still looking to mount that charge. This with an opportunity to get to 13.
After a birdie par finish or start, Chris Smith finds the range on number 3 and goes 2 under for the day.
And now David Toms at 13 under, and this is a very difficult hole, the 9th.
9th hole, just a very tough green to hit, and this is an unbelievably good shot right underneath the hole for David Toms.
He liked that. Let's take a look at our current leaderboard. Greg Hamilton, 2 under on the day, clinging to a 1-shot lead. David Toms, Chris Smith, just 1 shot back. But before it's all said and done, there might be 6, 7, 8, 9 players with a chance to win this one today. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner along with Jim Nelford. Low scores today, and I know, Jim, you feel like the key there is to get off to a good start.
Well, certainly with these first 4 holes playing fairly easy, a guy knows that he's got to get out of the blocks and put some birdies up on the board, especially because you've got the 8th and 9th holes, which are playing the most difficult on the golf course. You want to have a little pad as you go into those holes, and you want to put up the message, I'm going low today.
All right, speaking of low and how you end up trying to win golf tournaments on the Nike Tour, a lot of different ways to do it.
Well, after 3 rounds, 10 of the players who've led have gone on to win. And only 3 of those were co-leaders. But here's an interesting stat. 8 of the guys who were back in the pack ended up winning the tournament. And we've got a pack that's closely bunched and nipping at those leaders' heels.
Very little wind, soft conditions on the golf course, especially on the greens. The finishing holes here at Dakota Dunes, very difficult. So let's take a look at them, starting with the par 4 15th and Gary Smith.
The par 4 15th hole is a monster. It's 466 yards long, and it's been giving the players problems all week. They have a choice to make off the tee of whether to hit a driver or a 3-wood. The benefits of hitting a 3-wood off the tee is that you can cut the ball over the left-hand corner of the fairway and leave yourself a shorter second shot into this green. If you cut the corner, you're going to have 190 to 200 yards into this green. If you leave it out to the right off the tee, you're going to have 220 or 230 yards into this very small green. Now over to Mark Lai at the 17th hole.
Well, Gary, the tee shot here at number 17 is key. This hole measures 422 yards, and the fairway's tough to hit. It's guarded by fairway bunkers on the left-hand side and water way down the right. The second shot, the players are confronted with a middle iron into a pretty generous green. However, it too is protected by the Missouri River on the right-hand side and long.
The 18th hole is 561-yard par 5, dogleg right all the way along the Missouri River. The river runs from the tee shot all the way to the green, and only the longest of the long can get to this green in 2 shots. Most players will lay it back 80 to 100 yards so they can put some spin on the ball and try to get it close. If you do go for this green in 2, though, you'll have some problems if this pin is cut front left and a very difficult up and down from anywhere around the green.
Let's go now to the 10th, and Larry Silvera, who just filled it up yesterday with 9 birdies, this to get to 11 under.
A long sweeping putt and a good effort, but it stays high. Larry
from barely making the cut to almost leading the golf tournament yesterday with that 64. And let's go now to the par 4 9th, and Robert Thompson. Mark?
Robert got a real good break here. Had about 215 to the hole. He cut it fat, hit about 20 yards short and bounced up. So pretty lucky to get it on the green, although he does have 40 or 50 feet. I'm sure he's very satisfied with that. There's been some train wrecks on this hole this week. We just saw a man double bogey, Greg Wisman, who was cruising along at 13 under, leave here 11 under. So that is on the player's mind as they step up to this tee.
Mark, a very difficult pin today cut on this left little finger of the green, isn't it?
Jim, it is almost an unhittable pin. If you go at it, you have to just barely miss this huge poplar tree to the left of the green, and David Toms did just that. But smart players are just playing out to the right side. Robert's putt is very slow, very uphill, right to left break. It's getting there. Very good.
Let's go now to the 11th, and Mike Schuhart.
The 11th hole, dogleg right, par 4, 427 yards. A lot of the players electing to hit 3-wood or 1-iron off the tee. Pin today in a very accessible spot, middle back portion of the green. Not much to scare you off this pin.
Yeah, that's good. Get down. Get down.
Yeah, and that's long and left.
Let's go back to the 10th a moment ago, and Clarence Rose to get to 12 under.
Clarence Rose, no problem with that putt. Poured it in.
And after a brilliant shot from the fairway, David Toms for birdie at the 9th.
The tough thing he has here is reading it through the shadow. That's always tough for a golfer. Luckily, there's not much break to this putt. What a great birdie. That'll jump ahead of a few guys.
Picks up 1.5 shots on the field, really.
First birdie of the day at the 9th, and he is now a co-leader in this tournament. Let's go back to the 11th, and the second shot of Danny Briggs.
Dead middle of the fairway. Danny Briggs trying to bring a fade into the pin.
Killed it.
And leaves it out left, and that'll leave him with 25 feet for birdie.
Danny Briggs 2 under on the day. Greg Hamilton and David Toms tied for the lead. Back with more of Championship Sunday on the Golf Channel after this.
Today's coverage is being brought to you by Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By Nicklaus Golf, makers of the new N1 bare irons and metalwoods. And by Izod Club. A shirt like this comes along once in a lifetime.
American families have made their choice. Once again, they've chosen the Buick LeSabre as Family Circle magazine's Family Car of the Year for reasons like safety, dependability, performance, and style, American families chose LeSabre as Family Car of the Year over every other sedan, foreign or domestic. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
In choosing the right shafts, torque is important, but shaft stiffness and tip flexibility are even more important. True Temper combines the right shaft properties to give you the best performance no matter what shaft you choose. So remember, torque, stiffness, and tip flexibility. Or just remember, True Temper.
True Temper makes it easy to choose the right shafts. The Integrated Performance Series. The performance of the most famous steel shafts, now in graphite. From True Temper.
David Toms, with the first birdie of the day at the 9th, has now joined Greg Hamilton atop the leaderboard. And let's go back now and the middle of the 9th fairway, and Greg Hamilton, who is 2 under on the day.
After a nice tee shot, Greg has 200 yards to the pin. Chosen a 4-iron. Made a very solid par 3 on the previous hole.
This pin cut all the way left. He has to be very careful not to pull it into this tree left.
He's had problems here all week, but appears to be going for the green safely, Jim.
That's a good, smart play, Gary.
Excellent shot there at the 9th. And there you see, thus far on the 95 Nike Tour, the toughest holes, 1 through 4. And number 9 ranks right in there.
And really the main cause of it is you get pinched off in the fairway. Some guys don't hit driver, and they leave themselves with 200 yards to a green that's really meant for a wedge shot.
Let's go back now to the 9th, and John Huff's second.
Well, John's just a couple of yards closer, just under 200 yards to the pin. He also is hitting a 4-iron. Wind just picking up now slightly into the players.
Also very serviceable.
Final group of the day, Greg Hamilton, Chris Smith, John Huff. Chris Smith, a winner 2 weeks ago. Both Huff and Hamilton looking for that first victory here in 95. And now back to Chris Smith at the par 4 9th.
Well, he has the best angle into the pin of the entire group, has 190 yards to the pin, and has the 5-iron.
You can see him choking up a good 1.5 inches on the club. So it'll be a little 5-iron for Chris, who can absolutely crush the ball.
He did this on the previous hole too, Jim, on the par 3, gripped down about 2 inches. Heading a little right of the pin.
Now 3 good shots just to hit this green. He'll be happy with 2 putts.
Let's go back to the 11th now, and Mike Schuhart, who probably would be happy with 2 putts as well.
Exactly. Mike 3 under today, and a pretty good lag down there to 1.5 feet.
Let's go now to the 12th, and the 3rd shot of Matt Peterson.
Matt Peterson struggled a little bit yesterday, shooting 73.
Back to the 11th now, and Danny Briggs for 3.
Oh, and that's got a little too much steam on it. Now it'll leave Danny with 4.5 feet or so for his par. And he left a few putts short yesterday and felt like he needed to get a little more aggressive today. Gunned that one 4.5 feet by.
Let's now move to the 13th, and Ricky Smallridge.
13th hole, 432-yard par 4. Pin today cut 15 yards on the green, right in the middle. He's got a good angle to come in from. Carries it pin high, and it rolls back to about 20-25 feet. That'll be a downhiller, turning to his right. A little harder than I expected, and I'm sure Ricky also.
David Toms, Greg Hamilton, tied for the lead. Toms trying to win back-to-back and for the third time here in '95. Chris Smith also trying to become a multiple winner here this year, as would Matt Peterson.
Well, all those guys at 11 under par certainly in the hunt coming down the stretch here.
Let's go back to the 9th green now. Greg Hamilton. Kind of surveying about a 20-foot birdie putt.
It appears, I think Chris Smith is going to putt first, Denny.
Looked like a conservative play from Chris Smith at the 9th, Gary.
Well, I think this hole deserves a lot of respect. It's playing the most difficult hole this week, and I know Greg Hamilton had his problems here the other day making the double bogey, and it's a hard hole.
Well, as a player, you're very happy to get the ball on the green in two and let your putter do a little bit of work for you. There are some places around this green where it's impossible to get the ball up and down from. You really do need to just aim it at the middle of the green and hit your best shot, whether it be a fade or a draw.
This putt of Chris's is going to swing quite a bit to the left. He's a little bit uphill, and it's going to be relatively slow. Easy to leave this one a little bit short.
Chris with 3 birdies on the day and a bogey. Danny Briggs also, by the way, tapped in for 4 at the 11th.
See how far Chris Smith is aiming right of the hole. That's going to have a big swing in it to the left. Right about here. He leaves it 2 feet below the hole. Won't be unhappy with that effort.
I think all 3 players would take par here, don't you, Jim?
Absolutely. And then you sneak off the green, go to the 10th tee.
Let's move ahead now to the par 5 12th. Matt Peterson trying to make birdie number 5 today.
A good little stretch here. Birdie 7 and 8 and 10.
Matt Peterson could be that player out of the pack to post the low score. Now let's come back to the 9th green.
Birdie putt for Greg Hamilton. This one a little downhill. Fairly straight, but if anything might move a little to the left.
Move ahead now to the 10th and the second shot of Robert Thompson.
He's got it in a great angle here to that pin. That pin is tucked to the right side on this 10th green, right over a little mound. Robert, I'm not sure if he knew where the pin was, but now he's saying, hey, I'm glad I'm on the left side of the fairway because he's got a straight shot in at it with a scoring club. The only thing is it's kind of semi-blind because of this hill he's hitting over. He can still see the flag, though. Trying to get his bearings a little bit. Wind is helping him just a touch, Jim, so I'm thinking he's got a good solid 9 here from 129.
Will the trees in front of him bother him at all, Mark? Will it bother the shot?
Not at all. He's just right up the gap here.
Now, no bogeys on the day for Robert Thompson, 3 birdies.
Looks good if it's up. Oh, it is. It's plenty.
Just past pin high. That'll give him a good shot at birdie here at the 10th.
Let's move ahead to the 11th, and Greg Wisman with his second.
Greg playing up the right side of the fairway, fairly close to the water, actually.
Yeah, Greg. All right.
Yeah, beautiful shot right underneath the hole. 10-footer for birdie.
Let's go back to the par 4 10th, and Jeff Barlow.
Very unlucky. Landed it right in the middle of a divot. Oh, he got all ball, though. Very good looking shot. Looks like it flew long and it's coming back.
Just back into the back fringe, but pretty darn good out of a divot, Mark. They're tough shots, aren't they?
Yeah, those are kind. You just say, I don't deserve this, because now you've just taken all the good things you've done. Hitting the fairway right in the middle, good angle, and it's got a bad break. David, though, is sitting up nicely, 124 yards. He's hitting a wedge.
Should be perfect. If he lands a little bit short, it'll hop up off of that hill right in front of the pin.
Well, he's swinging good, isn't he?
You can see why he's just coming off a win.
Chris Smith tapped in for 4 at the 9th. David Toms poised perhaps to take the lead here at 10. Let's move ahead now to the 16th a moment ago, and Stuart Appleby playing this beautiful par 3.
First look at this hole today, playing 195 yards, and this is one tough pin. I can't tell you how good that shot is.
That left to get to 3 under par on the day. The boys are taking dead aim at the flag sticks. We'll be back with more after this.
Every golfer knows the rule. Play the ball where it lies.
Nice shot, man.
When you visit South Carolina, you'll see just how enjoyable it can be to play by the rules. Over 200 courses and weather that invites you to play all year round. For your free South Carolina Golf Guide, call 1-800-872-2102.
When did golf become more than a game for you? For me, it was hearing stories about legendary players like Bobby Jones. I knew I wanted to be that kind of player. If golf is more than just a game for you, you'll want to join the Partners Program.
The exclusive tour card is only one benefit of membership. A full year of On Tour magazine, tournament tickets, and access to great tour courses are all part of the new PGA Tour Partners, supporting a charitable tradition.
So join the rest of us who think that golf is more than just a game.
To the 11th, Larry Silvera for birdie. Well, they all went in yesterday.
Well, they certainly did. He had some long-range bombs yesterday.
Just prior to that attempt, Clarence Rose trying to ring the bell again.
This from 40-foot range. It looks good. Boom!
An explosion, and Clarence said, I knew I read it just right. Oh, Jeff Barlow now for a birdie. They're dropping from everywhere, Mr. Lai.
Jeff Barlow's got it very makeable. Right to left. Just a taste more and he would have been there.
You feel like it's a bad break as a player when you leave a downhill putt short by an inch. And it is a bad break.
Yeah. After a beautiful play from the fairway, Greg Wisman trying to come back from a double at 9 with a birdie here at the 11th.
Well, we knew one of the players would be, one of our leaders would get bit on the 9th hole. Greg Wisman never had that one on line.
To the 10th, co-leader Greg Hamilton.
3 wood off the tee.
Fairly generous driving area here on the 10th hole. Greg Hamilton swinging very well.
Let's move move ahead now to the 10th green, and Robert Thompson for birdie.
Right about 20 feet. Going to be a little right to left. Dave Toms is watching intently this putt because he's on the same line. And I never had it on line. And David said, okay, that confirms that.
And here's Robert Thompson's story. 38 years old, turned pro in 1980. His best 95 Nike Tour finish has been tied for 29th in the Cleveland Open, so he's not had a great year so far. This would turn it around for him.
Back to 10T and John Huff.
3 wood for John also.
John Huff, another player, swinging extremely well, Denny. Saw him hit an awful lot of good shots yesterday. Couldn't convert with the putter, though.
Ahead to the 10th green, and David Toms to take the lead.
You can just see the confidence just oozing out of David.
That birdie on 9 sure didn't hurt that confidence.
And there it is again. He's on a roll.
Oh, he's hot stepping it to the hole right now. Yesterday, 277 birdies from the entire field, and with 9 holes to play, they've already made 210. So the top is off. Well, let's go to 13 now, and Matt Peterson, who is making his charge on the backside.
Now the back 9 pins a little more difficult than the front side, so I think this tournament is certainly going to be determined how well these guys handle the tough pins coming down the stretch.
Heat it up. Get up.
Let's go back to the 10th tee now, and Chris Smith.
Chris Smith with a 2-iron. He can hit this 2-iron 265 yards. Really a good swing, this young man. His game will fit well on the PGA Tour.
Power and finesse, and an aggressive player as well. Chris Smith, 2 off the lead. David Toms is our new leader.
As official car of the 1995 PGA Tour, Buick has donated a substantial sum to Easter Seals, the United Hospital Medical Center, the Boys Clubs, and Save Our Sports. In fact, Buick has donated over $8.5 million to local charities in the last 6 years. With Buick's approach to the green, everyone's a winner.
A lot can happen in 24 hours. People win. People lose. Dreams begin and end. Celebrations. Disasters. Miracles. And drama. Bringing the world of golf to your game. Golf Central.
Live every night, only on the Golf Channel.
David Toms, off a birdie at 10, has now taken the lead. And Toms has enjoyed the backside, Jim, at this golf course throughout this week. 11 under on the back and 4 under on the front side. And with the pins and the holes a little more difficult on the backside, that's kind of surprising.
Just quiet, please. Thank you. You can let him come.
Well, David Toms evidently likes the way those holes set up for him. He feels like he can reach the 12th hole, and looks like it's a good driving 9, and he takes advantage of it. This golf course will penalize you if you hit a bad shot, so he knows there's disaster lurking out there in a number of holes on this back 9.
No trouble on that ball.
Geometric center.
Back to the 10th now, and Greg Hamilton.
Greg's got a sand wedge. He's just over 100 yards to the pin. Come on.
Squeeze a little.
And not a bad miss from Greg Hamilton.
to the 12th. And Danny Briggs trying to get it close to get to 12 under par.
Oh, and Danny couldn't put enough spin on that to bring it back.
Now back to the par 4 10th and John Huff.
John's got about 90 yards. Also has a sandwich. Wind a little bit behind the player. Right on it.
Ooh. Almost flies it in the hole.
Back to the 12th. Moment ago, Mike Schuhart. Pin cut just behind the bunker on the right. Tough little spot today.
Well, not a bad spot if you're going to go for this green in 2, Danny, if you leave it in the bunker.
After a 2-iron tee shot, Chris Smith at the 10th.
Well, he hit that 2-iron about 280 yards. Just a little sandwich in. This is right on the flag.
Come on back.
Making birdies back here.
Chris says he needs to make some birdies back here. Danny Briggs trying to do likewise at the 12th.
Pretty straight putt here. It looks like it wants to go to the left, but it's a pretty darn straight putt. You can see the players want to make it go left, and it just stays straight and straightens out in the last few feet. There's a look at how Danny's played. 1995, made 12 cuts of 14 events. He finished second at the Inland Empire Open start of the year. $46,000 in earning, which puts him at 30th spot, and he knows darn well if he can win a couple coming down the stretch here, he'll get back to the PGA Tour.
To 13 green, and Matt Peterson underneath the hole. He's birdied 4 of the last 6.
Well, when he won in Macon, Denny, he had a great run coming down the stretch. Took 8 under for his last 7 holes. And stole that tournament. And he's on another roll here.
Hit it. More stuff, Robert.
Well, he had the perfect line, just not the right speed up the hill. Let's go back now to the 12th. And Mike Schuhart after a very nice little pitch. Looking for birdie. Absolute ideal scoring conditions today. Virtually no wind, soft greens, pretty smooth.
These guys have certainly taken advantage of it. This 12th hole, yielding 8 eagles so far this week, and more birdies than pars, so you need to make birdie. Otherwise, the leaders will pass you here. Mike Schuhart, 4 under today, making no mistake of that hole.
Let's go back now to the 10th green. Greg Hamilton trailing by a shot. And Gary, he's held up pretty well thus far, although here's really where the tournament begins for him.
Well, he has, Denny. It's interesting. I watched him yesterday, and of all the holes I've watched him play, I haven't seen him miss a green yet. So, hitting the ball very well. Yet another iron shot pin high.
Greg, another player that's enjoyed great success on the backside at this golf course. 10 under par throughout the week on the back, 4 under on the front.
He said he likes the back a lot better than the front. He's, as those numbers prove, struggled on the front, so should be an interesting backside. This putt's about 15 feet. Might move a little to the right.
Hung in there for a long time.
It's a nice way to start the back 9.
Yes, sir, to get a share of the lead.
Confidence booster for Greg Hamilton, who at this point in time, Jim, ranked 105th on the money list, averaging about $600 a week. Certainly a victory here would turn his season around. And let's go now to the 11th. And red hot David Toms. Mark?
148 yards, kind of a sucker pin. If he gets aggressive, that back bunker's come into play. He could be pumped up enough to not realize it. Looks pretty good. Very good shot.
To the 12th. Greg Wisman trying to reach this par 5 at 2.
The best play here, Danny, is take it right at the flag. Big bunker right in front of the pin. And look at this bounce. Oh, is that any good? He doesn't know how good that is.
Let's go back a moment ago to Chris Smith for birdie at the 10th.
This is a tough putt to read. It looks like it's going to break left, but it's fairly straight.
He got fooled, Gary.
Yes, that was a tricky one. Hopefully John learned a little bit from that. He's on basically the same line. Needs to hit this fairly straight. Don't give the hole away.
Well, he finally got one of the hole.
Yeah, and it ended up right behind the hole. Toms and Hamilton tied at 15. We'll be right back. Located at 2901 Jackson Street in the mansion of former Sioux City developer John Pierce is the Sioux City Public Museum. Pierce, who was once one of the city's wealthiest men, lost the mansion and all of his fortune in the Panic of 1893, and the house was then raffled off in a national lottery. The museum life science exhibit depicts the relationship of the ecology of this region with the wildlife found here. Displays are used to teach the interdependence of nature and animal life. The area's history also plays a major role at the museum, beginning with life on the frontier through to its position as an industrial city in the Midwest.
Looks like you're going to need a small bucket.
Maybe next time, I'm going to need a large bucket.
It's a time for preparation. The last moment to sharpen weapons. This tournament readies the field. It is the build-up for the PGA Championship. And it's all on the Golf Channel. Prime time. Don't miss the Buick Open. Day 4 tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Clarence Rose, second shot at the 12th.
With the 1-iron. Played it safely up the middle.
And now to 11, David Toms.
Pretty straight putt, Denny.
I was going to say to get to 16 under par, and this guy just get him on the green, Mark.
Yeah, you can just see him. He's swinging well without fear. He's not taking a whole lot of time. He's very confident. He had a very makeable putt there, too.
Toms 6 under on the day. Let's go to 14 now, Matt Peterson.
14th hole, playing 177 yards today.
Dang it, I hit it over there.
Pin's cut way over on the left corner. Oh, and Matt's bailed this one out to the right. Down the hill it goes.
This was at 11 a moment ago. Robert Thompson to get to 13 under.
It just never looked like it was going to miss, did it? Set or cut.
Back now to the 11th tee. And John Huff, who has basically been snake bitten with the putter here this week. If not, he would more than likely be leading this event.
Yes, yet another one missed on the last hole, Denny.
That was one of those cases where he couldn't believe that that ball did not go a little left, even after watching Chris's putt.
This is tough tee shot. The wind's from left to right, coming across the players' backs. Water on the right.
It looks like he's got it aimed right at that bunker. Good place to aim it. Feel a little fade off of it.
Well, he just saw Greg Hamilton tee off, and Greg pushed it. May have gone in the water, so it might be on his mind.
Definitely is where he's aiming this one.
Heading safely down the left. May catch the rough or kick into the fairway.
Let's move now to the par 5 12th green. A couple of eagle opportunities here. The first by Clarence Rose, who has birdied 4 of the last 6. This to get within a shot of the lead.
Working his way back to the hole. Whoa! Clarence knocked the cup back on the last hole about 6 inches and almost made that one.
Now David Toms going through that pre-shot routine at the 11th tee.
It's got a little bounce to it now, doesn't it?
He's got a little wind that's at his back. It's left to right wind.
Sit down.
Freshened up a little bit. Caught it real solid. He's hoping it gets down.
And just into the fringe of the rough. May have to hit a fade. And here's a look at the hole. 502 yards long. It's a hard dog leg left and then kind of snakes around the trees on the right. So you need to keep your drive up the left side, left of that bunker we see at the end of the fairway. The second shot through this chute is to a medium-sized green with this large bunker right in front of the green and another one to the left. This bunker, though, is an easy play. And with where the pin is cut today, only being 8 yards on, it's actually a shot I think some of the players could hole out of this bunker. That was yesterday's pin. As we've seen already today, the pin is cut just 8 yards over the right-hand side of the pin of the green.
To the 13th now. And Danny Briggs with his second shot, his front right pin placement. Danny 2 under on the day.
Danny's laid it way back here on the 13th. We'll have a probably 4 or 5 iron left from this point. 2 under for the day, but David Toms is running away from the pack. Again, the pin on 13, cut right in the middle of the green, 15 yards on. A good pin for Danny, who brings in the ball in from left to right. Doesn't have to worry about the trees. The right side of the green. And I've lost that one.
Let's move ahead to the 14th. Matt Peterson rather, missed the green to the right.
And he needs to get this up and down, and that tight little lie on that closely mown portion has caught him.
Now back to 12. Greg Wisman for eagle. Wisman with that little tap in for his 5th birdie on the day. The only blemish, double bogey at the 9th.
Can't quite take advantage of that fortuitous bounce he had around the bunker.
To 13 we go, and Mike Schuhart from the fairway.
You see Mike Schuhart probably a good 40 yards past where Danny Briggs could hit his tee shot. At this point, close to 150 yards for Mike.
Be right, Whitey. Be right. Go in.
Had it flagged all the way. Have an uphill 10-footer. Mike Schuhart, 35 years old, turned pro in 1985. He's had 2 tour victories in '93 and '94 on the Nike Tour. has not played well as of late, missing 6 of his last 7 cuts.
Major story now at the 11th. Greg Hamilton has driven it in the water and now is set to play his 3rd.
Yes, an unfortunate tee shot, and now leaves himself right around 200 yards to this pin. Fortunately, the pin's 30 yards back, so he's got a little bit of room to work with. Wind a little behind, 5-iron.
Up second shot, then Smith's second shot.
What a superb shot.
That would be an incredible 4. He might not even lose a shot. David Toms by 1 over Greg Hamilton. Find out what kind of metal he's made of here at the 11th.
Well, he's shown some of it right there. That was fabulous.
John Huff, after 3-wood off the tee, has about 180 yards to the hole. The wind is strengthening slightly now. It's behind the players. Got a good angle to this pin, Jim.
Exactly, Gary. A lot of green to work with. If you want to take one in low and skip it up there, you can. But with these greens the way they are, and the iron he's got in, Gary, he could throw it right at the hole.
I think so. It looks like he's going with a 7-iron.
Take it right.
Good looking shot.
Got it pinned high and has about 18 feet left for birdie. And here's a graphic of the hole showing how much it doglegs to the right, actually. Greg Hamilton, uncharacteristically for him this week, peeling his tee shot off into the lake on the right. Chris Smith made no such mistake, though, and he's looking at probably 8 or 9 iron, Gary.
9-iron, Jim, I think. About just slightly under 160 to the pin. He just crushes the ball. Very impressive, this player.
Good balance. Great body action through the shot. Look at this.
Superb shot.
Chris Smith trying to make a move. And now let's head to Robert Thompson, who has an unusual stance.
Yeah, but his angle at the pin is really good here if he can just get the club on the ball. It came out heavy. It's going to be short of everything.
That club choked up a good 4 or 5 inches, Mark.
Yeah, it was way up. He had like a baseball swing at it.
A moment ago, let's go to the 13th and Danny Briggs.
Way down below and cut this one a little bit thin. But had to check up, so he'll have a 10-footer left for his par here at 13.
And now back to the 12th and our tournament leader, David Toms.
He's got a real hot one from 216. Maybe he can run it through this bunker here. Up by the green. Came out hot. Oh, couldn't tell where it finished, though.
Boy, it landed dead pin high and rolled to about 20 feet right behind the hole.
Toms has birdied 4 of the last 5. He may change that up and make an eagle at the 12th. He's making a move, and we'll be right back.
When was the last time you played in the rain? Let your hair go wild. Flexed your muscles to the world. Stayed up past your bedtime. When was the last time you really had fun in a car? Riviera by Buick. Go ahead. Express yourself.
Golf. Rich with tradition and history. A sport forever enduring and unchanged. Golf is pure theater. Its passion and drama has forged so many indelible personalities. These are the champions who met in golf's magnificent arena.